Hi everyone, welcome to Doing Dental School. My name is Kajal Khatri. I'm a first-year dental student at Marquette University School of Dentistry, and today I wanted to just sit down and answer a bunch of your guys' questions. I asked for questions on my Instagram yesterday, thinking that I'd answer them just on my story, and I ended up getting way more questions than I thought I was going to, so I thought I'd just sit down and film a video so that all of them can be answered at one time. So if you enjoy this video and you find it helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. All right, so getting right into it, the first question I got was, how do you study in undergrad? I'm having a lot of trouble finding what works for me. And unfortunately for me, I have never had any one study method that works for every single class. I usually have to tailor it specifically to each class because each class, first of all, is so different and every professor teaches so differently, they test so differently. So unfortunately, it was for me, I kind of had to figure out a way that worked for every single individual class. That being said, also don't panic if you don't figure this out right away. It took me a solid 2 to 3 semesters to figure out a good study method for me, and some of them that really work for me. So first of all, I always in undergrad typed my notes. I use my iPad now to take notes. A lot of the times for memorization, I'll actually talk out loud to myself. So I know it sounds kind of crazy, and definitely don't do this in the library or anything, but I found that if I can teach it to someone else, and if I can teach it to the wall, or even if you have a stuffed animal or something like that, if I can teach it to someone else, I am able to recall that stuff a lot better on my exams. So that's one way that I really study well and memorize well. The other thing I will do is actually write stuff out. So kind of as if I was talking it out loud, I will write stuff out and write important concepts out, especially making a study sheet of all of the important concepts for that exam, I find to be really helpful as well. So the second question I got was, do you have any studying or time management advice? I'm scared to go from 18 credits to 30 credits, and it's a lot. I'm telling you right now, going from that adjustment of taking maybe 15 to 18 credits in undergrad and then taking 27 to 30 in dental school, it's a lot. And just keep in mind, I know it's easier said than done, but keep in mind that you're just not going to be prepared for every single exam you go into. And that is the difference between undergrad and dental school. As undergrad, you're striving for those high grades and those A's and B's. And in dental school, you have to realize that, getting B's are okay, getting C's are okay. You just need to pass the course. And that's a really hard adjustment, especially for a lot of us dental students where in our entire life, it's been just striving for the highest grades. So that mindset adjustment is really definitely one of my biggest tips for adjusting to that. Aside from that, in terms of time management, find a method that works for you. So for me, I have a daily planner that I will write out everything that I'm doing. I'll make study schedules. I'll make sure that I'm giving enough time to each exam and to each class in order for me to do the best that I can do on an exam. So I think finding a method of scheduling and planning that works for you is really the way to go. The next question I got was, what's the key to impressing at dental school besides being a well-rounded student? And yeah, being a well-rounded student, especially having good grades, having a good DAT score, having those extracurriculars and experiences are all really important. I think aside from that, I'm not sure if this is the key, but I would say that showing your personality and showing your passion through your interview is definitely something that can make you stand out as an applicant. So obviously, you can see your passion and some of your personality through your personal statement, but dental schools really get to see that in your interview. So make sure you stand out through that interview process by prepping for it a lot. So find out if there are any resources at your university that you can take advantage of, practice with any friends or parents, siblings, just do a lot of practice, even just talking out loud to yourself in your room. Those are great ways to prep for your interview. So the next question I got was, what is your best advice for starting a personal statement? And I actually have a whole video on tips on writing your personal statement, some exercises on how to start. So I'll definitely leave that link down below. But in terms of starting your personal statement, I definitely say to just word dump. if you have no idea what you want to talk about in your personal statement, make a list of all of the meaningful experiences that you've had, any sort of reasons why you want to pursue dentistry and why this is such an important part of your life. Just brain dump everything and find common themes within everything that you've word dumped and see if those are topics that you can actually write about in your personal statement. So next two questions, I think I just have a similar answer to, so I'm going to group them together. And the first question is, does virtual volunteering count for dental school applications? And can I use community college credit for dental school? And I think here, I'm not really sure. And I know that sounds like a dumb answer, but I think it really just depends on the school that you're applying to. Some schools may accept it, some schools may not accept it. So here, my biggest recommendation would be to reach out to admissions of the schools that you're interested in applying to. Obviously, admissions, their whole job is to put the best foot forward for their dental school and to answer all your questions. So don't be afraid to reach out to them and ask them these questions, because that's their entire job, is to answer questions like these. So the next question I got was, I just got into dental school. Is there anything I can do to prep? I'm assuming for dental school. And I think here, especially for me, I remember this time last year being so kind of bored because I'm like, all right, I've already gotten into dental school. I was taking kind of just like finishing out my major, so my classes weren't too difficult, and I kind of just felt bored. I'm like, okay, well, might as well prep for dental school. And I actually didn't end up doing anything, and I think that would be my biggest recommendation, is take this time to simply enjoy life, because this is the last time in your life that you're really just gonna have all of this time to do nothing. Because once you start dental school, it is like 100 miles per hour nonstop. And after you graduate dental school, you're going to be working. So this is really your last time in your life that you're just going to have time to do nothing. So enjoy it. Take a trip, do stuff that you enjoy, find hobbies that you enjoy, just do something that makes you happy and just enjoy this time before the craziness of dental school and dental school life start. So the next question I got was, what is the application timeline? And again, I have a few videos on this and I'll leave them linked down below. But generally speaking, the application will open in May/June, depending on the year. And then interviews can happen anytime between August and March. There's a really wide time range, but the first day that you can receive an acceptance to dental school is December 1st. So that is generally the application timeline. There's a lot that goes into that, so definitely check out my other videos on this. So the next question I got was, when should I sign up for the DAT if I'm applying this upcoming cycle? So this really depends on your own schedule. So if you're still in school, what does your course load look like? If you're out of school and say if you're working, what does your work schedule look like? You need to dedicate a good chunk of time to studying for the DAT. Now this chunk of time can look different depending on who you are and how much studying you need to do. Personally, for me, I dedicated about 2.5 months to studying, but you definitely might need longer and you might need shorter than that. So I think taking a look at when you actually have time to study is definitely a good place to start. Also, keep in mind that you don't need to take the DAT before you submit your application. You can take your DAT after that. You just need to take it before you get accepted. So basically you have until like December to take the DAT. So making sure that you get it done basically as early as possible if you can, and making sure you have time to dedicate to studying for the DAT. Depending on all of that stuff, you can kind of figure out when you should take it. So the next question I got is just saying, I'm so confused. What exactly do I need to do besides the DAT to get into dental school? And I definitely think I'm just gonna send you to a different video that I've created. So I have a whole video on what it means to be pre-dental and all of the steps you need to take in order to apply to dental school. So definitely check that video out because I think it'll really, really help you. The next question I got is, how does one cope with failures in dental school? And I think this is a really, really good question because this is something that honestly takes a lot of adjustment. As I kind of said in a different question, us as pre-dental students, we're so used to trying to be on top all the time and doing the best that we can possibly do. And then getting into dental school when everybody is like that, it's really hard because it's really competitive, and second, these are different skills that you're learning that you've never learned before, especially all of your hand skills and your sim lab classes like that. that's a whole set of new skills that you are learning for the first time as a dental student. So it takes a lot of adjustment. And I think with dealing with failure in dental school, I think just reminding yourself that you are doing the best that you can possibly do. As long as you're not sitting there and slacking and just, not putting in effort, as long as you're putting in 110% effort, I think just reminding myself that I am doing the best that I personally can do and not comparing myself to others is definitely the key to dealing with failures. Of course, this is definitely easier said than done, so just hang in there and I know you can do this. My last few questions that I've got all have to deal with Marquette, so how I'm liking it, what surprised me, what makes it unique, and I thought I'd just kind of lump it all together and just talk about Marquette for a second. So for me, I did my undergrad at Marquette and then I chose to stay here for dental school. So I am basically going to be at Marquette for 8 years. And honestly, simply put, I would not have chosen to stay here for 8 years if I didn't absolutely love it. I think the community here is definitely something that's really unique and something that I didn't see at any other dental school. I honestly, personally wanted to go somewhere away, somewhere warmer, but I did my interview at Marquette and I just felt the sense of home and the sense of community where I saw that all of the students here were friends. They wanted to support each other and help each other and, help each other achieve our goals of becoming a dentist. And I saw that faculty and students were talking to each other, which again, I didn't see it at all dental schools. So I think that's something that's really unique. Additionally, I think that the clinical experience that I get at Marquette is phenomenal, especially being in clinic already my first year, just assisting, and the fact that I'm going to be doing profis on my classmates this semester and on actual patients starting in the summer. I think that all of that combined just really makes Marquette the perfect place for me to be. And I don't know, I just absolutely love it. So those are all the questions that I'm going to answer today. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted a question. And if you want to be part of the next Q&A, make sure to follow me over on Instagram. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I'll see you next time. Bye.